Welcome, one and all. This is MJ hosting another fully operational analysis. This time I'm going to be talking about Mandalorian Season 1, Chapter 6, The Prisoner. And because Disney Plus is funny with things, yes, I'm going to have a hard time. So this was, the writing on this was different. It was directed by Rick Famuyiwa. That's his name. I kept thinking it was Famuyuki, so I thought, how strange is this? Black man has a Japanese last name. That's not the case. Rick Famuyiwa. That is his name. So he was the director of the episode, but the credits on this are weird. The teleplay was written by Christopher Yost and Rick Famuyiwa, and the story was by Christopher Yost. I don't think I know the name Christopher Yost from The Mandalorian. Sounds like maybe by or somebody I could have heard from in Clone Wars or something, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, regardless, here we are. This was an episode, and I liked it a lot. I got to say, I really loved all the tension in the episode. It was interesting. There were a lot of callbacks to things, and I'm not going to say they're bad that they were callbacks, but just it was interesting that they were callbacks, and I don't quite know the motivation behind them, but I'm okay with them. They were enjoyable in the moment. I just don't know if they maybe took away from it overall, especially because the last episode had, episode 5, chapter 5, whatever, also had a lot of callbacks in it, and maybe it's too much. I don't know. We don't need to be overly self-referential, in my opinion. But anyway, I got to say, the things I liked most about the episode were just how, not energetic it was, but how the energy shifted. Well, this episode, I don't know if it was the writing, I don't know if it was the music, I don't know if it was the direction, maybe it was the combination of the three, gave me very strong emotions. I felt the menace of the crew, I'm going to call them. I felt the menace of the crew. I felt how uncomfortable Mando was with them. And this was an interesting feeling that I kind of liked. I liked how they kind of recontextualized Mando up until now. So for the last, I guess the first episode we didn't really know him. He was just kind of a hard case, call him that. And then episodes 2, 3, 4, and 5, so that's 4 episodes, we see like a good guy arc forming for the Mandalorian. And then here in episode 6, there is an allusion to some planet where they did something, and apparently he worked with this crew a lot, minus Bill Burr's character, Medfeld. Is it Medfeld or Mayfeld? Anyway, I think it's Medfeld, but I could be wrong. Anyway, I loved his character, by the way. I enjoy the comic stylings of Bill Burr from time to time. I'm pretty sure when I was a lot younger, I watched one of his specials. I've heard him on different shows and stuff, and checked out episodes of his podcast as well, and enjoyed those. Thought they were funny, and I just love the energy that he brought to the episode. I wonder, like the dig about the New Republic guy's shoes, like was that all Burr or was that in the script already? Because I really liked how like the camera glanced down to it. It felt like it had a lot of personality, and it was interesting. It was a very different energy. But getting back to the main part of the episode, or I guess back to what I was talking about with the episode, is that I found it really interesting how you had that, like, you felt their menace and their malice and like this like kind of very uncomfortable set of emotions, or like a nervousness almost, and then that increased when they got onto the ship and they found the child and they start messing with him, and then we have the, things just escalate worse and worse and worse from there. And I just really enjoyed how much it was like a very simple, straightforward action. I noticed towards the end, like towards the climax, it wiped from like 3 or 4 different sets of characters, and it kept going back and forth, the classic Star Wars-y thing. But the action that was going on was semi-pedestrian. You had Zero chasing down the child or finding out about, Mando betraying the guild, and then looking for the child. And then you have Mando kind of attacking these other people. And then Medfeld is just like kind of going after him slowly. And it's not super, super exciting until it gets to the very end there. But I thought that was interesting that despite the fact that we were seeing some kind of pedestrian stuff mixed in with more interesting things, like the scope of it, it's not space battles, it's people walking around hallways, but it still felt very exciting, very threatening. And I think part of that was the design of the episode. I don't know if you would call this a bottle episode or a bottle story. It could be. I don't know the technical definitions. It's been a long time since I've studied like the different story structures, like over a decade probably. And I don't know, but like I think the point of the bottle stories is that tension begins to build as you get towards the end, and then finally there's the release, the climax, and the denouement, everything. But I just loved how the discomfort and the tension increased and got ratcheted up like every couple minutes. There was like a new threshold of discomfort reached, and it just kept going up from there. And again, like the allusions to Mando's past, like maybe he's done some really evil stuff, was really interesting. I don't think it doesn't make me like him more. It makes me, because he was, a worse person, it makes me more interested in this character and how he got, like maybe how he was in a really dark place and he like pulled back from that and what that means for him. Because that means that his arc since the start of the show was an arc that he was already on, and it's not like rescuing the child was the start of it. It was another turning point, an inflection, a point where he could have turned back or like stunted his growth and just stayed who he was and only sought to survive, versus, I don't know, is he trying to thrive now by building, by trying to, win friends and influence people? I don't know. But, he's definitely changing, and it's interesting to see just like the kind of crew he rolled with and how rough they were, and like what that means, what that implies about him as a character and as a person. I find that really fascinating. But anyway, so that's on the story element. But then the way it was presented, the execution of like I said, the writing, the music, the directing, was really excellent, because it just kept getting higher and higher and higher. And it was really satisfying to see that he didn't actually kill them, because there's a reluctance for the Mando to kill people. But then again, like these two monsters, like the Twi'lek male, the brother, I don't remember his name, he seemed like a real beast. And then the dude who hired him, maybe Mando's like, if this guy's running these kinds of jobs, like who knows how many other innocent people he's, willing to get, killed. And I worked with them for a time, for a purpose, whatever. I'm not going to let this persist. So if they die, they die. And that's great, because, ultimately, they were probably going to try to kill me anyway, which, I mean, maybe there's a subtext that, the plan the whole time was that he was going to kill them, or that they were going to try to kill Mando, because it seemed like he was the one who was responsible for the brother getting caught, because he was left behind or whatever. So I find him kind of taking the revenge on them in that way pretty interesting. And one last thing, at the very end of the episode, I'd say it's the very end of the episode, that Mando turns to the child and says, "I told you that was a bad idea." And I thought that was a real fun moment. To me, I don't know why that moment was there. If it was to show us like the emotional connection forming between them has deepened, and perhaps that it's maintained that he hasn't lost who he is, because he's still soft. He's in that softer posture. He's talking to the child as opposed to just clamming up and being silent the whole time. And we're seeing that, so it's a significant thing because we're the audience, right? So I thought that was kind of interesting, and it was funny. It's just, it seemed like it was funny in the moment, and then I thought about like, wait, was he telling like, "Hey, kid, I'm going to take this job, and the money's going to be good, but I'm just not sure it's a good idea. What do you think?" And the kid was like, "Oh," and then he was like, "Yeah, I hear you, but I don't think it's a good idea." Like, is that what happened? I don't know. Anyway, I'm really happy that the Twi'lek, the Devaronian, and Bill Burr are going to be back. Or at least I heard Bill Burr's character returns in season 2, and that's exciting because he's a mean man. He's a mean man, and he's very enjoyable to watch be mean. And I was just surprised that I enjoyed the performance. That was like very well done. Like he didn't carry the episode, but like he almost carried the episode because he was just like that enjoyable to watch, and it was like interesting to see. Like, Mando's all armored up and he's, whatever. You can't see him. He's inscrutable, but you get a sense of his emotions and his feelings, whatever, because of the interactions he has with people. But like, and he's so silent. Whereas Medfeld, I think it was Medfeld, could be Mayfeld, I don't know, was like just boisterous, and he's out there and he's like vulgar and attacking and like constantly barking. So Mando's like this silence, and then, the Mayfeld presents like this great foil to him because he's just like attack, blurt, 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 blurt. And I thought that was a really interesting dynamic, and I don't know, I thought it was cool, and I liked like the bit of that it added to the lore that he was this Imperial sharpshooter and he's not like a stormtrooper, because Mando snipes at that. Pun intended. Thanks It's a dad joke. There you go. Anyway, and I thought that was cool. So lots of fun. Again, it was like, there's only so many stories, but the execution of this was just on fleek. I loved it. It was very good. It was wizard, one could say. All right, so that's going to wrap it up. I'm trying to make these a little shorter because I want to keep going. I want to get to the next season already. And, I want to respect your time too. Respect your time and my time. So anyway, visit mgmunoz.com to see all the other stuff I do. I'm a writer, I'm an artist, and I'm a podcaster. I have mgmunoz.com/FO where you can find all my fully operational analyses of a bunch of different Star Wars stuff. And hope you enjoy that. You can also poke around, see some of my writing, see my comics coverage or analysis, see my writing, and also see my tokusatsu stuff if you're into people in suits like fighting, because tokusatsu's full of that. You got bugmen, you got army-ish people. Anyway, lots of fun. And that's pretty much all I have to say. So until next time, folks, take care.